Oh, hi everybody, Ezra Levant here. It's June 28th, and you're watching Battleground. Oh, I think you saw a little glimpse of Justin Trudeau there. I also have a variety of nicknames for Trudeau, including The Precious, and Shiny Pony, which I think I can pretty much take credit for coining several years ago. China has a nickname for him. They call him Little Potato. And I'll never stop laughing over the fact that when Christopher, and if you have that clip handy, just grab it. When Chrystia Freeland, our credulous foreign minister, first heard that, she thought or hoped or just decided in her heart that that was a great compliment. Because, of course, Chinese, as you may know if you've tried to wrestle with that interesting language, is a language of homophones, words that sound similar but have different meanings. And so it's a language, from what I understand, my sister's a Chinese teacher, or she was, and she lived in China for a while, so I think I don't have any personal authority in this, but from what I picked up from her, is that there's a lot of puns. Because some words might sound the same. Yi, er, san, si, four, the number four, is a form of homophone for death, for example. So that would be a superstition. Little Potato sounds like Justin Trudeau, but it's an insult. Just think of it, the word Little Potato. Who could possibly think that the nickname Little Potato is a compliment? Like, how could you process that? How could you not know that's an insult? Here, just a reminder, look how giddy this girl is.
We're quite proud. The Prime Minister has been given a fond nickname in China. He is called Tudou, which I believe means potato, and I can't say the Chinese word, it's Xian Tudou, Little Potato, because his father, Pierre Elliott Tudou, was Senior Potato. So we feel we are off to a great start.
Who told her that? Who told her that was a compliment? Hey, Little Potato, that's like a Trump nickname. That would be like Jeb Bush saying, he called me low energy. I think he means I'm environmental, like I'm a low energy light bulb, so I save emissions. He called me low energy. I think that means he really likes me. Or Crooked Hillary. He called me crooked, so I think that's it. Like, how could you think that a mighty nation like China, and I have 100 quarrels with that nation, but one thing is they're a serious country. They've been doing diplomacy for 5,000 years. Like Persia, they're not new at this. He called Trudeau Little Potato. Oh my God. So as you know, and I've told you this before, and you know what Donald Trump's nicknames are in China. And don't take it from me, take it from the anti-Trump, pro-China New York Times, who said that Donald Trump has two nicknames in China. One is Donald the Strong, and that's almost too on the nose. Like when I read that, I said, come on, really? Does anyone really say that? That's just too perfect. The New York Times claims it, and they don't like Trump. And the other nickname they give him is Uncle Donald, which an uncle, like a bit of a deference to an elder. That's not, calling someone Little Potato is a way of saying, yeah, you're a kid, you're an empty suit, you're all hat and no cattle. I tell you this because, of course, Justin Trudeau and Canada's Foreign Minister, Chrystia Freeland, are at the G20 conference in Osaka, Japan. And I want to start by showing you a little photo op where Donald Trump and the various world leaders get together. I mean, they have various photo ops, but I just want to show you, and our friend Manny Montenegrino brought this to my attention on Twitter, how all the world's leaders gravitate to him. They want to be next to him. They want to stand beside him. They want a photo with him. Even the ones with whom he has tension. The Turk, Recep Erdogan, the head of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Sheikh, Vladimir Putin, of course, they know the strong man when they see him, Donald the Strong. Here, just take a look at this and compare this to those videos where Justin Trudeau just goes around and around and around like a girl at a junior high dance looking for a friend of any sort. Here's Donald the Strong greeting the world's leaders. I don't know if they were saying it would be good to have a lip reader. I think it was just probably friendly banter. But I don't know if you noticed there, President Xi Jinping of China came up to him, shook his hand, and then walked to his place. I don't know if you recognized him there. I'm pretty sure I saw the leader of South Korea. Again, forgive me, I don't know all my G20 leaders by face. But even the ones who have tension with Donald Trump, and Xi Jinping would be at the top of that list, they bend the knee to him. They bend the knee because they know, first of all, they know he's a deal maker and that he will make a deal with any one of them, even if there's been hard feelings. Look, the guy's sitting down with the North Koreans. There's no one there who doesn't think, if I do it right, I can get a deal with Trump that is mutually beneficial. They know he's going to be driving a hard bargain. I tell you, for all the mockery, I forget which columnist it was in the New York Times who said, for all the reasons that we liberals hate Donald Trump domestically, that is precisely why he can be successful in foreign affairs, because he's a tough son of a gun. And he's blustery, and he doesn't care, and he's bull in a china shop. So even, and again, I'm quoting the New York Times far more than I'm comfortable doing normally, but that's, no one would possibly look at Donald Trump and say little potato. I don't know how tall Trump is. I'm going to guess he's 6'2". He looks like a fairly tall man. Yeah, do you see? There's Xi Jinping right there. I think that's who that is. Yeah, that was Xi Jinping with his translator. And that's MBS Mohammed bin Sheikh next to him, and Narendra Modi there. You would not look at that man and think little potato. The thing about nicknames is they only work if there's a grain of truth to them. Low energy Jeb worked. Crooked Hillary worked. Crazy Bernie Sanders worked. Sleepy Joe Biden, it works. Lion Ted Cruz, I didn't like that much myself because I'm sympathetic to Ted Cruz. That worked. Crazy Rocket Man or something is what he called the North Korean leader. Nicknames only work when they have a ring of truth. Otherwise, people would say, that doesn't make sense. I'm not going to use that nickname. They have to bring out a truth that was theretofore sort of unspoken. And you cannot look at Donald Trump and say, little potato. Even if he was short, which he's not, he's just not a little potato. He's Donald the Strong, or Uncle Donald. Compare that. Do we have the viz of Trudeau next to Xi Jinping? I read, it's just a photo. Let's take a look at that. I read, hold that up there for a second. So who's the little potato there? You got China. What's the population of China these days? I haven't looked that up in a while. I'm guessing it's between, I'm going to say 1.3 billion, Maybe I'm off by 100 million. So it's probably close to 1.3 billion. All right, that's a big country. That's a big country. It's, depending on how you measure, by purchasing power parity, you could say it is already the largest economy in the world, although I think in meaningful ways I'd give that title to America. And you've got a pipsqueak there. You have a little potato there. Hey, look at my socks. Hey, guys, did I tell you about my socks? Hey, I got these cool new socks. Hey, I got some socks, and I got this drinking water box bottle, plastic paper sort of thing. You could not find two opposite men. By the way, I don't have a lot of time for Xi Jinping. I think he's authoritarian. I think he's regressive. I think he's undoing what few liberalizations there were in China. I think he is a chauvinist and a bit of a, I don't want to call him a bigot, but I think he's got a hostile form of ethnic nationalism that he's stoking in China. I'm willing to be corrected on that, but that's how it looks to me. You couldn't have more opposites than that. And Mercedes Stevenson, who's a journalist at Global, I think, had a series of tweets this morning who said the two men just sat next to each other and did not exchange a word. Put that picture up just one more time, because I think that picture sums it up. You're sitting next to the president of China. You could reach out with your arm and touch him. He is, other than Trump, perhaps the most important man in the world. He has two Canadian hostages. He just buzzed our Navy warship with some high-tech fighters. He just brought in a total ban on Canadian agriculture, or at least in the form of canola and meat. And you're just sitting there? Well, sure you are, because you're a little potato. You're just sitting there. Yeah, here's that tweet from Mercedes. Coming soon, my report on the latest from the G20. Prime Minister Trudeau sat next to President Xi at the leaders' working lunch. The two do not shake hands, look at each other, or acknowledge one another. There are several minutes of video. If we can find that video. If not, if we don't, may not have that video yet. But that's incredible. I mean, what a timid do-nothing. That guy's holding two Canadians hostage, and that guy won't answer the phone calls of our foreign minister. And Trudeau's sitting there like a stupid little potato. Unbelievable. But, he's got a lot to say to Emmanuel Macron. Do we have that B-roll? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Emmanuel Macron, who, last I checked, his popularity in France was 23%. It might have ticked up, who knows? Maybe he's burst through 25%. Do we have the picture of the viz? There we go. Yeah. Forgive me, I don't know who that fella is on the left there. But Emmanuel Macron, now there's a little potato. He's what? He's about 5'4" or something. And just despised by his own countrymen. Hey, I see a super chat come in here. Thank you, D. Tyler Dunbrack. Shake Keane's hand for me. You struck gold with that young man. Well, that is very nice of you to say, and I happen to agree with you. And I'll have I saw Keane. I was in Vancouver last night, and dinner with him, and Sheila Gunn-Reid was there, and we met some of our rebels in Vancouver yesterday. I agree with you. Keane's doing a great job. And a little bit later on, I'll play for you the video of him scrumming Ilhan Omar, which was very exciting. That video got more than 1 million views on the Twitter version. I think it's up to 150,000 on YouTube. Yeah, so Trudeau has all the time in the world for the despised, incompetent globalist named Emmanuel Macron, who last I checked was at 23% in the polls. Yeah, he's got a lot to say to that loser, but he can't find a word to say to President Xi. Little potato is... How about Jessica? You are exactly right. Jessica is outstanding. Jessica is on a short... well, I don't want to give away her personal details, but she's on a short vacation. And she will be joining me in London covering Tommy Robinson's next trial date, July 4 and 5. So I'm seeing in the comments here a lot of fans of Jessica. Count me amongst them, of course. And so Jessica will be, she's on a bit of a break now, well-earned break. She did a great job covering Tommy in the UK. And then we sent her to the Philippines, believe it or not. That's quite a journey, by the way. And she covered what we call the garbage ship. That's that 69 huge industrial containers of garbage that Canada shipped to the Philippines, claiming it was recycling. It wasn't recycling. The Philippines are sending it back. So we sent Jessica to the Philippines to do that story. And you can, yeah, look at that. Because this tweet here, if you scroll up 1 inch, I want to show you Catherine McKenna. That's that garbage ship. And look what Catherine McKenna said. Anchors away! Hey everybody, I'm so excited. Anchors away! The containers of garbage have departed the Philippines and will arrive in Canada in 4 weeks, where the waste will be turned into energy that will power homes in British Columbia. I'm so excited about the garbage. That is a real tweet. That's not satire, by the way. All right, so yeah, so I agree with you. Jessica is super duper. Kian is super. Our friend David Menzies is doing a great job. And Sheila, of course, nobody better. So we got a great team. And I think our whole team's just cracking, just humming. Let me show you a couple more things from the G20. And then I'm going to show you Ilhan Omar and Kian. And I didn't properly introduce the Super Chats. Maybe you guys know what it is, but of course the Super Chats is what Tyler did there. I do, out of the corner of my eye, see some of the comments coming in. But if you want me to see your comment for sure, you can throw a few bucks or a few pounds behind it. It gets colored like that and appended to the little top there. And so I see, and I thank you for that because, of course, although YouTube takes 30% of that dough, which I think is a very high cut, they do pass on 70% to us, which we use to help pay the bills. So feel free to chip in. No Rebel Summer Israel trip. No, not this year. We had one last year. It was very hot. We went June 25 to July 5, if I remember my dates. We were there for the 4th of July, believe it or not. And it was really enjoyable. We are retooling, and we're going to have more Rebel Live events. We're going to have more Rebel Live events are one-day conferences. We've had them in Calgary and Toronto. I think we could have them in other cities too. And we have had trips like trips to Israel and cruises, and I'd certainly like to do more of those. Some garbage comments there. That's very funny. Don't lose heart, Ezra, says Jean de Villet. I didn't think I was. Why do you think I'm losing heart? I'm a little tired. I've been flying around and different time zones and going full tilt. I'll take a bit of a break this weekend, so I'm tuckered out, but I don't think I'm losing heart. Proud Boys Calgary, nice to see you again. Trudeau is the meek little flower around the alphas, bold around his supporters, and talks smack when alphas leave. Not even a beta, he's a gamma. You know, there's a lot of truth to that. If you remember, at the last G7 gathering in Charlevoix, Quebec, Trump and Trudeau actually managed to get along fairly well in person. And as soon as Donald Trump got on Air Force One, all of a sudden Justin Trudeau was a tough guy. Forgetting perhaps that Donald Trump has TV on that plane. And holy moly, did he get offside there. MVP, 7 Australian bucks, or I think that's what A is. Have you been watching the Democratic debates? I saw some of them. Hey, Justin, I tweeted a clip from a candidate I had actually never heard of until yesterday that was so weird. I tweeted it this morning, I think, and or maybe it was late last night. Holy cow, I don't even know who this candidate is, and maybe, Justin, you can help me by giving me a one-line bio on her. Marianne Williamson, I had not even heard of her before, and I guess this is like the, you know, in showbiz they got Broadway, and then they've got off-Broadway, and then they've got off Broadway. Do you know what that means? Like if you got a show on Broadway, you're in like a prestigious theater, it's like a big production. If you're off Broadway, well, it's not really the big leagues. And off Broadway, well, okay, maybe you're in like a school gym in New Jersey, right? So I guess they got the front runners. You got your Joe Biden, your Kamala Harris, you got your Bernie Sanders. Let's call that Broadway. And and this candidate, holy moly! Did you have that clip ready? Do you have that clip from that? Oh. So she's a lecturer, she's an activist. I understand she used to be like a spiritual advisor to Oprah or something. And you just got to listen to this part here. So she talked about love, and then she had another clip about going head to head with the Prime Minister of New Zealand. If you can find that clip too, it's just as funny. Here's this, and I just thought, this sounds a little romantic. What do you think? Take a listen.
Sorry we haven't talked more tonight about how we're going to beat Donald Trump. I have an idea about Donald Trump. Donald Trump is not going to be beaten just by insider politics talk. He's not going to be beaten just by somebody who has plans. He's going to be beaten by somebody who has an idea what this man has done. This man has reached into the psyche of the American people, and he has harnessed fear for political purposes. So, Mr. President, if you're listening, I want you to hear me, please. You have harnessed fear for political purposes, and only love can cast that out. So sir, I have a feeling you know what you're doing. I'm going to harness love for political purposes. I will meet you on that field, and sir, love will win. I'm sorry.
I'm going to harness love, and sir, love will win. I think she got that speech from like a Tinder profile or something. I'm going to harness love, and love will win. I'd say that word. I think she gets a lot of swipe right or swipe left, whichever that is. I mean, she's. I don't know how many votes she's going to get, but I think someone who talks that confidently about her emotions of love, I think she's probably successful as a human being. I think she's going to come last, with the exception of Bill de Blasio, the New York mayor, who is polling at 0%. How can you be the mayor of the greatest city in America? I mean, my God, New York. You know what they said about London? He who is tired of London is tired of life, because within London it has the same as with New York. New York is the most wonderful city in the world. And it's such a huge city. How can the mayor of New York be polling 0 in a Democratic primary? So I think Bill de Blasio is going to come in last. And I think this Marianne Williamson, who I bet has all sorts of scented candles and like crystals, and I think she's big into the scented candles. Probably has a huge Pinterest page. Probably has a lot of throw pillows. Just a hunch. Proud Boys Calgary sounds like Danny Darko fear versus love speech. Okay, yeah, maybe. She also said this. New Zealand, right? That's it's a fairly small country. I mean, geographically, it's actually not that small, but it's a very small population. I think there's only 4.5 million New Zealanders. There's more sheep than people in New Zealand. And if you look at a map, it looks close to Australia. It's actually not. It's just there's nothing else around, so it's close-ish. So they have this prime minister there named Jacinda Ardern, who is clearly traumatized by the mass shooting at the mosque there, and fair enough. But I think she's got PTSD from it. And she's gone a little bit crazy. She wears a hijab sometimes now. She's banning all firearms. They've literally prosecuted people simply for uploading a copy of the terrorist manifesto. In fact, I think someone got sentenced to 14 years in prison just for uploading it. Crazy stuff. But that is the target for Marianne Williamson in this, What do you think of this?
Down the line here, and I'm asking you, please, for 1 or 2 words only. All right? Please.
Really?
President Obama in his first year wanted to address both healthcare and climate. And he could only get one signature issue accomplished. It was, obviously, healthcare. He didn't get to do climate change. You may only get one shot, and your first issue that you're going to push, you get one shot that it may be the only thing you get passed. What is that first issue? And Ms. Williamson with the last word.
My first call is to Prime Minister of New Zealand, who said that her goal is to make New Zealand the place where it's the best place in the world for a child to grow up. And I will tell her girlfriend you are so on, because the United States of America is going to be the best place in the world for a child to grow up.
Ms. Williamson,
we are going
thank
to
you.
have...
You guys were close with the short.
Where did that come from? Your first call is going to be the Prime Minister of New Zealand and say, girlfriend, you're so wrong. I think this girl, just get out of the politics for a second. I think that she would be a very, very trippy friend to have. And I bet she's into slightly exotic drugs, like mushrooms and stuff. And I think she would just be a hoot at a party. The things she would say. Running the country, not so much, but I really like this lady. I want to show you, though, I don't know if you know this, I didn't watch much of it, but there were some technical problems. We're a very simple operation here at The Rebel. Right now, I'm the only guy on TV. I have one microphone and I have a little thing in my ear for our producer to talk to me, and there's just one guy, Justin, he's running the camera and the viz. Pretty simple operation, not a lot that can go wrong. But if you've got a debate with, I don't know, almost a dozen candidates, each one of whom has a microphone, if you've got a couple of hosts with microphones, if you've got lights and cameras, that's an awful lot of complexity. And they probably have a dozen people in their control room, like just which mic is on, which mic is off, cut to which. That's an enormous production, and they screwed up, and the wrong mics were on and the wrong mics were off, and it turned into a bit of a panic. And those two hosts, Rachel Maddow and I forget his name, Chuck Todd or whatever. They were trying to, they were saying, they were coming up with excuses, and finally they said cut to commercial, and they said anyhow, it was a bit of a technical snafu, and I don't want to laugh too hard at them because it's very challenging stuff. They're the professionals, they have $1 billion budget, they should get it right. But in the middle of the debate, Donald Trump himself tweeted this video. So you have to understand, you're going to hear some audio. Obviously, you'll immediately detect what was fake and what wasn't. But Rachel Maddow, and I think that was Chuck Todd, talking about audio issues, that's real. Just look at this from Donald Trump.
Senator Warren, I want to start with you. We are less than 50 miles from Parkland, Florida, where 17 people were killed in a school shooting.
Someone's got my binder. What's happening?
We are going to take a quick break. We're going to get this technical situation.
What's happening?
We are hearing our colleagues' audio. It's a control room right here. Off the lights. If the control room, you can turn off the lights of our previous moderators.
We prepared for everything.
Guess what, guys? We are going to take a quick break. We're going to get this technical situation fixed. We'll be right back.
He actually tweeted that. His other favorite tweet, one of his more concise, he just tweeted one word. You got that tweet, Andy? I think he was on Air Force One, by the way. I think he was going to Osaka. And he's watching this, and you see that? He just said, boring! 313,000. Boring. Oh my God, you've got to admit he is very funny. All right, let's check the clock. It's 12:30. So we showed you the Trump debate tweets. We showed you some of that Marianne Williamson, who, listen, I don't want to be mad at her. I think she's endlessly interesting as a person, and as I think she was like some spiritual advisor to Oprah, and it really shows. I bet she lights all sorts of incense. I bet she goes to like Burma for like a cleanse, and like I just think she's really weird and interesting, and you would never want to ask her a question like, hey, what do you think about Iraq? Oh, no. But ask her anything about life and get set for like a magic carpet ride. Okay, I want to show you two more things from the G20 meeting. First is I showed how Donald Trump was at ease with all the world leaders, and they wanted a piece of his time, obviously, except for Justin Trudeau, who, well, I'm sure Trudeau would have loved to be with Trump, but he was sitting like a sullen little boy, like a snarky little potato when Xi Jinping was next to him. But in that same Trump style, that Trumpy style, Trump was sitting down with Vladimir Putin, and he just said, hey, no meddling. Take a look at this.
It's a great honor to be with President Putin, his representatives, my representatives. We have many things to discuss, including trade and including some disarmament, some little protectionism perhaps in a very positive way, and we're going to discuss a lot of different things. We've had great meetings, we have a very, very good relationship, and we look forward to spending some very good time together.
President, will you tell Russia not to meddle with the 2020 election?
Don't meddle in this.
I think that's funny. Don't meddle in the election. But you know what I like about that? Is that the conspiracy theory media, by which I mean pretty much all of them, who for 2 years just harbored this hope that that Trump really did collude with the Russians, because that way that would be a more favorable explanation in their minds for why Hillary Clinton, the chosen one, lost the election. They can't believe that their fellow Americans would not have chosen Clinton, so they need another explanation, a miraculous explanation. And they put all their eggs in that basket, and it turned out not to be false. If Trump had let the media live in his mind the same way he lives in their mind, he wouldn't be comfortable even sitting down and shaking hands. And it's a great honor to meet with Vladimir Putin. Did you hear him say that? And look who he brought with him. Can you put that clip up again and just sound low, and I'll talk over it if you can do that. You saw Secretary of State Pompeo. Okay, so that's obviously Trump and Putin himself. But if you look at the row of people, I'm going to try and name them very quickly. Yeah, keep going, and then and you'll see the first guy was Secretary Mike Pompeo, Secretary of State, who obviously a big gun. Yeah, that's Pompeo, and then that's Steve Mnuchin who's the business. There's Jared Kushner, and there's Ivanka. And I'm sorry, I don't know who those two others were. So that really is your top-notch team, right? If you've got Pompeo, and I think I'm saying Mnuchin, am I saying that right? He's like, what, the head of the Treasury or something? He's got a financial portfolio. You got Jared Kushner, who's sort of a general fixer. I don't know what Ivanka was doing there, frankly. And I don't know who those last two were, and I think I skipped one. That is, I mean, that's not half the cabinet, but that is a heavy, heavy group of people. And they are having serious and substantive meetings. And that's what you do when you're the President of the United States. You don't let the media obsession and quarrels stop you from dealing with Russia. Of course we have problems with Russia. And with Putin himself, he's authoritarian. He cracks down on civil liberties. He surely does meddle in countries where he ought not to, including, for example, under Obama, where he invaded Ukraine with impunity, under George W. Bush, where he invaded Georgia with impunity. You'll notice that Vladimir Putin hasn't invaded anybody since Donald Trump came around. And by the way, I think if anything, Trump has been perhaps excessive in his sanctions on Russia. I mean, I'm not saying there shouldn't be sanctions on Russia, but they're at such a staggering level. Anyone who thinks for a second that Trump is colluding with Russia they're the deluded ones. So that's quite an interesting engagement. I think we have a clip of Chrystia Freeland talking about China and how she just can't get them to answer her phone calls. What a difference between Trump and Trump's team. So here's a clip of Chrystia Freeland, Canada's hapless foreign minister.
You know, as we have said consistently, Canada really believes that when you have a difficult situation, the right thing to do is to talk. And so we have been very open for a long time to have conversations with China. We have been having conversations at some diplomatic levels. You know, we've been speaking with the Chinese ambassador. Our diplomats in China have been speaking with their Chinese counterparts in China. But of course, we are very, very open to having conversations at a higher level here.
And they said no?
I didn't say that. I said we are very open to having conversations here. So
they're not having any conversation. And did you hear, she said that they're having some conversations at a diplomatic level. What does that mean? She said that there were conversations with the Chinese ambassador. Did you hear that? I wrote that down carefully and I listened carefully. That's not true, and the reason I know that's not true is that unless it happened in the last couple of days, Justin, there's no Chinese ambassador to Canada. Maybe I missed it, like in the last hour or so, but the Chinese ambassador to Canada has been promoted to Paris. That's a pretty sweet gig if you're a diplomat. In fact, if you're a diplomat, I can't really think of a finer, other than I suppose being a diplomat in New York to the United Nations, but I would probably put being the diplomat to Paris. I hear in my ear that perhaps he still is in that position. I don't believe that he has spoken to Chrystia Freeland, because as I've played for you on my other show, she went on the radio and literally on the radio begged for any Chinese diplomat to return her phone. So I could stand to be corrected. If he is still technically the diplomat here, the ambassador here, and hasn't moved yet, then perhaps she's not lying. But I know for a fact they announced he was being promoted to Paris, so she could well be fibbing. How pitiful is that? Oh, you know what? I gotta tell you, Justin, could you put on Captain Araminder Singh? It was in Jason's press clippings this morning. There's this very interesting governor. I forget what state in India he's the governor in, and he's a Sikh fella, and he wears a turban, and he often wears a pink turban, by the way. And he's such a tough guy, he pulls it off. Maybe if you're really, really tough, wearing pink is, I don't know. I mean, you don't see a lot of fellas wearing pink in the West, especially like alpha male politically. Like you would never, like I don't think Donald Trump would ever wear a pink tie. Maybe I'm wrong. And that's just a tie. Imagine a whole turban in pink. That's this Captain Araminder Singh. And I read in our clippings this morning that he has, there we go. So he's got he's a captain, and he's the head of Punjab. So he's a Sikh man himself, as you can see. Leader of India's Punjab calls for sanctions against Canada if it does not crack down on Sikh extremists. And his title is Chief Minister Araminder Singh, he goes by Captain, because I think he's got a military background. Yeah, Captain Araminder Singh has always made it clear he thinks Canada is soft on alleged Sikh extremists in this country. The head of India's Punjab state government once alleged the Liberal cabinet harbors 4 Khalistani advocates of an independent Sikh homeland, publicly snubbed Defense Minister Harjit Sajjan, and gave Prime Minister Justin Trudeau a list of purported Sikh terrorists living here. But Singh went even further with a critique in an unexpected statement issued this week, accusing the Canadian government of providing overt and covert support to the Khalistani movement and calling on New Delhi to consider sanctions. Can you Google, put him in an image search? I want to show this. He's a tough guy. Looking at him, I'd guess he's coming up on 60. But I think he's a hell of a guy. You know what? Ever since he lectured Trudeau a year and a half ago in India, I've been following him just because I think he's such a colorful character. And I want to show you that pink turban. Look at the turban. He's got a pink turban there in the bottom left. Like he's a colorful guy, isn't he? Don't make no mistake about him. He likes showing off a little bit of color in his turban. I guess it's like a tie, right? You can express it. Like he seems to always be wearing white, and he's got a khaki outfit there. So he's look at that there. He's a purple turban and a pink shirt. Oh, and you can see him in his military finery. Click on that one where he's got his medals on there. Right below that. Yeah, that one there. Look at that guy. Look at that guy. Click on that. What's that story? Anyway, so this, torn between friendship and heritage. Captain Amarinder Singh. Captain Araminder Singh told Indira Gandhi in 1984 that if she went ahead with army action in Amritsar, it would be a disaster. He then spoke to Rajiv Gandhi and said, I will be torn between my friendship and heritage if this goes ahead. Records. Anyhow, he's a character. But look at that. You can see he's a tough guy. Is that shining through? I wouldn't want to mess with that guy. He's the governor of the Punjab. And he's saying sanctions on Canada. How did we let that happen? I mean, Canada and India should be friends. We're both part of the Commonwealth, as in formerly part of the British Empire. We're both democracies in the British parliamentary tradition. There have got to be over 1 million Canadians who came from India, including a lot of Sikhs. How did that get off the rails? Do we have the dancing clip? Do we have Trudeau dancing in Delhi or wherever that was? There's a one-word answer for how that got off the rails, and it's Trudeau. He's such an idiot. He's such a buffoon. And he treats everything like it's just a dress-up party. Like if I were to go to India as a diplomat, and that will never happen, obviously, I would put on a nice suit, I would put on a tie, and I would try and look as professional and as possible, right? And I would probably study a few of the local customs, what to say, do you bow, like what's this thing, I don't know. I would try and have a light touch because I would be in a foreign land. I wouldn't dress up like it's a shtick, like it's Halloween, like it's a fancy dress costume ball. This is a real thing. In his trip, he's pretending he's a Bollywood actor, and he's dancing himself in like he's some Raja. This is a real thing. If you saw that, you would say, who is the little potato? Little potato is a Chinese nickname. In India, you'd probably call him stupid potato. Look at that. Pause there. So, can you go back to that one? Yeah. So, you got 4 people here. All of them are obviously Indian or of Indian descent. The guy on the right and the guy second from the left, you recognize him on the second, that's Harjit Sajjan. They're dressed normally. Okay, they got the turban on, but that's not the center of the turban. That's a religious artifact. That's like that's not their fashion. They have a fashionable sense, I suppose, and a color to them. But they're wearing suits, right? I'm sorry, I forgot the name of the guy on the right there. He's in the cabinet. He's wearing a suit. And Harjit Sajjan, he's wearing a blue Oxford shirt and a colorful blazer. These guys are dressed like Canadians and modern international. And then who's the idiot dressed up like he's auditioning for, Aladdin? You're not in Aladdin, buddy. Go to the next one. Okay, what are you doing? What are you doing? Stop. That's, I think his name is Shahrukh Khan. Even I know that. That would be like meeting William Shatner in Hollywood. Like he's or Al Pacino. In fact, he's got a little bit of a Pacino. He's a handsome guy. He obviously dyes his hair and his beard or whatever to look a little younger than he is. But you can tell that's a guy who's got a little charisma. And I should tell you, he's massively popular in India. I don't know any of his work. He's dressed normally. He's dressed like Al Pacino. He looks like he could be Al Pacino. Al Pacino wears black a lot. And you got Sophie, who thinks he's like the princess of Rajasthan or something. What's that on her head? Is that one of those, I don't even know what those are called, that Hindus sometimes wear a spot, so I don't want to guess wrong. Is she pretending she's a princess? I mean, okay, those are two kids and they're smiling because they're dressed. What's their dad doing? Why are you dressing up like you're on Aladdin? Okay, go to the next one. Oh, that's it, okay. I think you get my point. All right, it's 12:46. I was looking away from my computer. Did I miss any super chats that come in? No? Okay. Okay, I'm just going to read some of the regular chats. If you want me to take a gander at yours in particular, just make it a super chat and I'll see it for sure. Roldack, Indian Al Pacino. Booyah. I love Al Pacino. I don't think he's gone as crazy in his old age as Robert De Niro has. Robert De Niro, I just can't stand the guy. I just see this anti-Trump kook. Al Pacino, I like him more all the time. Now, of course, how can you not love The Godfather? And I liked Serpico, and I liked, was he in Marathon Man? No, that was Dustin Hoffman. I liked Al Pacino in Dick Tracy. I thought he was great. Anyway, let's read some more comments. Oh, there's some I'm not going to read here, but Lauren Southern says, if Trudeau met William Shatner, he would wear a Star Wars costume. You are exactly right. Star Wars, not even Star Trek. Oh, man. Cultural appropriation. Yeah, that's the truth. Why does Justin Trudeau get the could you just Google Trudeau costumes in the Google image search? Just give me a wide variety. Like if you Google image search Trudeau costumes, you will see 100 different costumes. And why would one dress up in a costume? There's him pretending to be Superman in Parliament. He wore that into Parliament. Why are you doing that? He loves dressing up as Indian. You can see that in the middle there. He loves dressing up as if he's Chinese. There he is wearing an Indian headdress. Is it normal for a grown-up to dress this way, to pretend he's someone else all the time? I just don't think that's normal. That just ain't normal. Thanks. Okay, let's just check the time here, 12:49. Let's take a few more comments. Ian J. says, Robert De Niro was great till he went on TV as a Trump hater. Yeah, I just can't look at him anymore. I don't even know if he's still great. He takes so many awful movies these days. I guess he's desperate for cash. I don't know. John Arnott, haven't seen him in a biker outfit. I think that would look a little too Village People. We've seen him dressing up as in an Indian headdress. I haven't seen him as a construction worker. I've seen him as a cowboy. I don't know if he was wearing chaps, but I think he would look too Village People if he dressed up in a certain way. Roll Duck, say hello to my little friend. That's you know what? Scarface, perhaps the greatest Al Pacino movie ever. I watched that too many times. First you get the money. Oh, there he is as a construction worker. I think I wouldn't quite call this a construction worker because really that's just a hard hat and a high-vis vest. You can see he's got the suit on underneath that. Like he doesn't have the tool belt on. In fact, there was a tweet that Sheila tweeted of him hammering. Can you find that one? Or even there's B-roll out there. But I'll do with the still image of Trudeau hammering a piece of wood. And I think he hammered it 22 times. And there's another picture of him hammering wood. There's no nail in it. I don't think Justin Trudeau has ever in his life hammered a nail into wood. Now, I'm not pretending that I'm Joe Woodworker, handy craftsman, shop kind of thing. I'm not pretending. But to never have held a nail and hammer in your life, I remember Sheila tweeted that picture, but if you go Trudeau, I think he was like hammering a piece of lumber, but there was no nail there. Oh. Yeah, the Great Dominion, he's going to need 1,000 disguises after he's no longer PM. Well, I actually think that Trudeau has a certain skill set. I despise it because he's indulging that skill set instead of the skill set we need. We need an executive, a chief executive of the country. We need someone who is hardworking. We need a leader. Those are the qualities you look for in a prime minister. Here, we've got the picture of him hammering the nail, 37 tries. Tap, 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 tap. Tap 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 tap. That's not even the funniest one, but there's a funny one where there's not even a nail there. So he doesn't have leadership skills. He doesn't have any policy sense. He doesn't have any economics. He doesn't have a work ethic. He doesn't have any of those things. He's a terrible negotiator because he's never had to negotiate in his entire life. He just pays the price of the first offer put to him. It's never his money. And if he makes a problem, daddy's lawyers will fix it for him. But what he is good at is banalities, smiling, dressing up. You know what I think would have been a good position for him? And I say this as someone who, as you know, thinks he's awful. I think he could have been a good Governor General. What's a Governor General's job? Cut ribbons. Go to ceremonial things. Dress up a little bit sometimes. Travel around. Make people feel good. Say things but don't really say anything. Rubber stamp things and take advice. He would have been a good Governor General if he could have. And I think he could have been convinced to shut up about politics. He still would have had all the perks and the travel, and that gold digger Sophie would have been pleased enough. He would have loved to go to Buckingham Palace from time to time, as I'm sure governors general do. And not exactly a big workload. I think he really was built to be a mascot of sorts. If he didn't have that Trudeau last name, he would be like a male cheerleader for like a sports team. But because he has a famous last name, Governor General, even though he is a man of no accomplishment, that would be a fit for him. So the fact that he likes, yeah, there we go, there we go, there we go. There is no nail there. There's no nail there. There's no nail there. And look at the, can you zoom in on those faces of those two fellas to the right? They're looking at him and saying, what are you doing? What are you, look at those two guys, the scorn, the sneer there. Yeah. You know what, it's 12:55 and I promised you a video by Cian Bexley, so let me deliver on that promise. Cian has been doing great work flying around this enormous country of ours. But we zipped him down to Washington, D.C. the other day because Ilhan Omar, who is the first Muslim congresswoman, along with Rashida Tlaib, elected, first Somali congresswoman elected from the 5th District of Minnesota. It looks like documents from the Minnesota government showed, I know this is incredible what I'm about to say, maybe you've heard of it already, that for reasons of immigration fraud, she legally married her brother. Now, I don't think they consummated that incestuous relationship, but it's obviously not only is it illegal to marry your brother for reasons of consanguinity, but the whole thing was a fraud because she actually had a different husband. She did it for financial reasons, for immigration reasons, and I know this sounds like some sort of conspiracy theory, like trutherism of some sort, but the various state agencies in Minnesota proved it true with documents. So Cian went down there and just started putting questions to Ilhan Omar. And without further ado, let's take a look at that. We can start pretty much where he just went out and asked her questions. We don't need the preamble. Let's take a look.
And I'm going to ask her some questions. Let's see what she says. Ilhan, if I could get a moment of your time, could you tell me why you filed illegal tax returns in 2014 and 2015?
On the speech committee?
Can you tell me definitively or not, is Ahmad Elsi your brother?
For the markup?
Yeah. Is he your brother?
We're in the middle of the legislative briefing.
Is he your brother?
We're going to which one?
It's Foreign Affairs. I'll go with you. Can you tell me definitively, yes or no, is he your brother? And why can't you answer that question?
The remarks you gave me earlier.
Why did you refer to him as your child's uncle on Instagram? And why did you lie on court documents saying that you hadn't seen him since 2011, when in fact you'd been talking to him all the time on Instagram?
Sir, we're not doing ambush interviews.
This isn't an ambush.
You can send me an email.
Why are you so afraid to answer these questions?
Thank you. So we have budget and
how can anyone take you credibly on the student loan tax file when you were cheating on your taxes in 2014? And how can you call for Donald Trump's tax filings when nobody can trust you on the file at all? And why are you scared to answer the questions?
Excuse me.
What are you hiding?
Trying to find my phone at the moment.
So that you can go on Instagram and talk to your brother? Now, I don't know why.
I think that was good. Now, of course, there were no substantive answers. But I got to tell you, if someone walked up to me, if I was an elected official, and if someone walked up to me and said, did you marry your brother? Obviously, did you marry your sister? I'd probably laugh at such an outrageous and shocking and ridiculous question. Like I'd probably like involuntarily go, ha, because it's so absurd. And if I was pressed, I'd say, no, what are you talking about? Because it's such a bizarre, weird thing, and you can answer it in one word, no, or if you're emphatic, of course not, or no, don't be ridiculous. That was excruciatingly long. It could have been ended in a heartbeat if she said, no, what are you talking about? No. Yeah, I think that's a yes, my friends. It's 12:59. I thank you for joining the Super Chat today. Thanks to those folks who chipped in with the Super Chats. It's Canada Day on Monday. We have our full lineup going on Monday anyways. And I'm looking forward to this summer. You know, it's coming up on a federal election in Canada pretty quick. And we're putting together a bit of a plan here at The Rebel. I'll let you in on it in the days and weeks ahead. All right, without further ado, until next time, on behalf of all of us here at Rebel World Headquarters, to you at home, goodbye, and keep fighting for freedom.